Here is a live look of the storm damage in Spartanburg as you join us 7 News at 6 this evening. A special broadcast tonight. Thank you for joining us here. More than a week after that tornado touchdown in Spartanburg, while neighbors across the upstate are flooded, we're still cleaning up.
And it is a mess, Gordon. Let me show you. This is splintered wood from a tree. And there are pieces like this, even smaller ones, that have neighbors worried about walking their pets, for example, because there's such a mess on the roadways and in their yards. Right behind me, you can see the massive mess of trees here. I'm on the east side of Spartanburg in the Hillbrook community. Way over on the west side, 10 miles away roughly, where it all started, is our Scotty K. She is over there tracking the damage. And Scotty K, I know you're finding even more messes there as we get out to those neighborhoods around the Powell Mill Road area.
That's right, Amy. We've shown you guys the extensive damage here at Crown Point Apartments, but what you may not know is right across the street here, there was a lot more damage done. In fact, crews were out here all day long working on several roofs just on this road, cutting up trees. But the neighbors I spoke to out here said they're just grateful no one was hurt. I spoke with one woman who's lived in this neighborhood for most of her life. She was at home when the tornado ripped through. Her roof was damaged, but that's not all. Her fence and car were also hit. She lost power and some of her favorite trees, but she's not the only one. A week and a half later, you'll see boarded up windows and blue tarps scattered across this neighborhood. And like I mentioned, crews are still working to help get these homes and these yards back to normal. Many people out here told me they're staying positive and relying on their faith to get them through this.
My motto is, God always provides whatever I have to have, and I just count on Him. It should make us much more thankful for what we have and worry less about what we don't have.
Now, Brenda Pitts tells me she expects it to take several weeks, possibly months, to get her home and her neighborhood back to normal. And she says she's saying some extra prayers for those whose homes saw even more damage. Live in Spartanburg tonight, Scotty K, 7 News.
Scotty, thank you for that. Developing now, Spartanburg County Council is hearing a request to apply for a FEMA grant from the federal government. 7 News reporter Henry Coburn's with us now on this request, Henry, for more than $50,000.
Yeah, that's right, Gordon. Spartanburg Emergency Management is requesting the grant from FEMA so it can update the county's mitigation guidelines. In other words, how it will deal with hazards in the future. The county's current plan for mitigation has to be updated by 2023 to be in compliance with FEMA guidelines. And the updated plan would last through 2028. The new plan lays out preventative measures the county will take to get ahead of the curve on future hazardous weather events. Part of the money from the grant would be used to hire a contractor to write that update. The grant would also do things like provide updated equipment for emergency response teams.
We just want to make sure that we continue to be consistent and continue to maintain what I would know to be the excellent services that have been provided with our emergency management services.
The county council member I spoke with earlier told me the county will likely incorporate lessons learned from the recent tornado with future preparedness plans. The grant request is on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Henry Coburn, 7 News.
And so we are standing by live here on the east side. Henry, we appreciate your report. Thank you so much. And we've had the emergency management folks out here with us. We are in William Young's yard. As you can see, there's so much tree debris all over the place. That's because the trees were on his roof. Let me show you the inside of his house. I took a tour in there. 3 bedrooms on the top floor damaged, but he was fortunate to be sleeping down in the basement when the tornado hit. And he joined us for our special broadcast at 4 o'clock today after the storm, caring and helping Carolina's family. And of course, he had a lot to say about his experience.
Well, it was very quiet. I was in the downstairs bedroom here, and then suddenly the house just was like a bomb dropped on it, and like that, or much more, and it shook.
And Gordon, they've got the tarp on top of those 3 bedrooms that are wide open to the sky right now as they try to prepare for the rain that's to come, as they work through these coming days. So much work to be done in our communities. This is going to go on for months.
Yeah, there are people who've lost just about everything, Amy, and that's why we're raising money tonight. And remember, tonight, a Pickens County family says they're one of those, trying to pick up the pieces after their home flooded during the storm. 7 News' Asia Wilson gives us a closer look at the damage left behind there.
Well, right now I'm in Anderson County. I've been between Anderson and Pickens all day long. Here in Anderson, this road right here is not passable due to flood waters rising and collapsing this road. But in Pickens County, one family says they're not sure if their house is even livable due to severe flooding.
It's kind of sad just walking through the house, thinking about how much work we put into it, because we put a lot of work into the living room.
We're just kind of winging it. One thing at a time, whatever we need to do at the time is what we're doing.
Nearly a week and a half after flooding wiped out Jade Bennett's home, her entire family is left trying to restore everything they lost.
It was empty, lifeless.
We got to fix this so I can get my babies home.
This mother of 5 says that's what goes through her head after flooding swept away all of her valuables within 30 minutes. Although this church and many others have been helping by tearing down walls to eliminate mold and other things, this family doesn't think it'll be enough.
Trying to use our help to the best of our ability. We need hands. That's what we need. We need a lot of people just to lend their time more than money or anything else.
The house is not livable. They lost things like furniture, clothes, and many of their prized possessions. But a big concern is for one of her children who is disabled.
She is disabled. She was born blind. And so there's a lot of concern there as far as her getting back in her home. It's familiar to her. It's where she spends most of her time. It's where she's comfortable.
And that's why they're hoping help will provide a comfortable place for them to live safely and happily again.
I just wonder when we're going to get it done, or if we're going to actually get the house back.
Now, the family says before they bought that home 8 years ago, they had no idea that that home had been affected by flood waters before, and then it caused mold. So now they're trying to strip down the walls at that home to see if that home is repairable. We're live in Anderson County tonight. Asia Wilson, 7 News.
Asia, thank you. Of course, the pain is evident in all of these scenarios we keep showing you. Families trying to get it back together, to pull the pieces together of their lives. And you can help out with this. We have a phone line open. The time is running out, though, to call in. So we want to head over to 7 News anchor Diane Lee. She is manning the phone line and keeping an eye on exactly what's happening with totals and contributions. And we appreciate every call that's coming in. Right, Di?
We sure do, Amy. And I've got some great news to report. So far, our viewers have stepped up to the plate and have donated a little over $8,000, but we have less than 30 minutes until these phone banks close as we show all the fine volunteers here who are taking your calls, and we're trying to get to $10,000. This money stays local, and for that, let's bring in Paige Stevenson with United Way. Tell us where that money goes.
So these dollars are going to be used for families who have been displaced from their homes or are in danger of being displaced from their homes, helping them with things like deposits to get into new rental property. Maybe they need some temporary housing, things along that line. But as you said, everything is for our local individuals.
Well, we know we saw people at the apartments at Crown Point walking away with only a garbage bag of clothes, and if you can imagine what that's like, which is why we so appreciate people calling in. We hope we can make that $10,000 mark before a half an hour is out or less than that. And we do want to also say thank you, Paige, if you could help me out, to our corporate sponsors who've called in. Carolina Alliance Bank donated $1,000. I shouldn't say sponsor, they donated this money. We've had other also organizations who've donated, and that money alone is another about $30,000, so it really helps out. Well, thanks for helping me here too, Paige. And again, that number at the bottom of your screen, 888-777-7556, and thanks.
All right, Diane, and thank you. The future of a state-owned utility is still up in the air. We'll tell you what South Carolina lawmakers are proposing for Santee Cooper.
And we are live on the east side of Spartanburg in the Fernwood, in the Hillbrook neighborhood, very close to the Fernwood neighborhood, hard hit areas of the east side of Spartanburg. And the phone lines are open if you want to continue to help out as we try to raise money to help Carolina's family rebuild from the storm, the tornado, the flooding damage that swept the upstate. You can call in right now to 888-777-7556. That phone line is only open till 6:30, so the time is running out. The smallest donations can make a difference. And again, we're creeping toward that $10,000 round figure that we'd like to hit by the end of the show, so please help us out.
Also tonight, we're getting a new look at a man linked to the death of 6-year-old Faye Swetlick in Casey. She's a little girl who disappeared while playing in her yard Monday. 30-year-old Cody Taylor here. Police say a key piece of evidence in Taylor's trash led them to the little girl's body Thursday. Moments later, they found his body at his house. They say the deaths are connected, but still have not said how. Taylor actually lived next door to Faye and her family. Coroner's office says they'll release the results of those autopsies tomorrow. New tonight, the Union County coroner says they have positively identified the body found in a ravine Friday, 30-year-old Mark Kevin Ammons Jr. One of Ammons' family members said they had been searching for him since he disappeared January 19th. His stepmother says that's when Ammons called family members to say he had just been robbed at a store. That store is not far from the ravine where the body was found on Friday.
That was the last anybody heard from him. He said, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go.
The case is still under investigation and still no word yet on whether deputies suspect foul play in this case. 7 News update here. South Carolina lawmakers working to resolve issues stemming from that failed nuclear power plant. So far, lawmakers have been able to address half the puzzle, selling SCE&G to Dominion Energy. Now lawmakers are trying to figure out what to do with the other half of Santee Cooper. Our Georgia Godfrey gets answers.
The Department of Administration released its report evaluating possible options on how the state should deal with state-owned utility company Santee Cooper. The report evaluates 3 different options: management, sale, or restructuring the company.
We've got to get this right. This is going to have lasting ramifications for decades to come.
Representative Russell Ott is one of many lawmakers anxious to resolve Santee Cooper's debt. The state-owned utility company is $3.7 billion in debt after putting up 45% of the investment into the failed V.C. Summer nuclear plant. Lawmakers have spent the last 2 years looking for a resolution. Because of Santee Cooper's impact in the state, the decision-making process has been strenuous.
Santee Cooper is huge for economic development in the state of South Carolina. They play a huge role in our lakes with Santee Cooper, Lake Marion, Lake Moultrie, recreational opportunities.
Cooperatives are in all 46 counties who cover 70% of the state's land mass. Ultimately, a little over 1.5 million people get their electricity from one of the state's electric cooperatives.
The state-owned utility company plays a behind-the-scenes role for hundreds of thousands of South Carolinians, providing electricity to those cooperatives.
All co-ops across the state receive about 75% of their electricity, ultimately from Santee Cooper.
A report recently released by the State Department of Administration outlines the best options for the state in the case of a sale, a management deal, or restructuring the company.
We received that report back from the Department of Administration last week, and so it includes the best offer for sale, which was from a company called Nextera, a Florida-based company. The management proposal was from Dominion itself, and then we also have the reform package that was put together by Santee Cooper.
The House Ways and Means Committee as well as the Senate Finance Committee now have 30 days to go over that report. At the end of that time period, they'll have to present a recommendation to the full body. In Columbia, Georgia Godfrey, 7 News.
Hi, I'm Amy Wood, and we are live on the east side of Spartanburg, where just like the scene is all over Spartanburg from the 10-mile swath of the tornado's path, there are tarps up, and people are wondering what's going to happen with the weather because they are trying to keep their homes dry. Our Malachi Rogers is tracking the latest with some rain on the way coming up in your forecast. we're joining Malachi Rogers right now to get the very latest on your forecast as we dig into what comes next for Carolina's family. We have the tarps up over the buildings here, Malachi, and of course everybody wants the good weather, right, so they can get the work done, have their roofers here and the cleanup crews trying to get these trees out of the way.
Yeah, we had a couple of nice sunny days, but it looks like now we're going to turn our attention to rain returning to the area. So again, I want folks to be aware of that we're expecting showers as early as tonight, and we'll see that rain really pick up in coverage during the day on Tuesday and Wednesday. It has been a warm day, 50s and 60s across the upstate, 50s and 40s right now in western North Carolina. Let's take a live look. Great shot here of Bowmanville on the Clemson campus. Cloudy skies rolling in, but it's dry right now, and I expect it to stay dry through the early part of the evening. So if you have those evening plans,